Okay. Hi everybody, I'm Shoshana and this is Kristen. She's going to help us out here today and demonstrate a couple of hip openers through pigeon pose and a little bit of chest opening and shoulder opening. So, Kristen, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so let's come into downward facing dog. We'll start there. Downward dog is a really nice pose to transition in and out of poses from. So from here, let's take a big inhale and reach the left leg up. Really stretch it high. And we'll flex that foot, so we'll take the toes down toward, good, okay, and bend in the knee. Good. All right, so we're going to open up the hip up toward the sky. So really stretch that left hip up and let that left foot come toward the right hip. As that foot comes toward the right hip, we can look for the foot underneath the right arm. Find that foot, and then we can send that foot down to the ground, watching it as we flip over into a flip dog. Nice. Okay, so here we can reach the heart forward, really lift. Good, and then let's come back into our down dog. We'll keep that left leg lifted, push to the sky, really strong leg, push to the back wall, straight leg, good. All right, let's bring the knee in, float it forward. We're going to take it to the outer edge of the left wrist, the knee. There you go, cool. All right, so we're coming into a pigeon pose. So in pigeon pose, it can get a little bit tricky because we often want to lean to one side, usually the side that is with the leg bent. So to feel a balance and to feel both sides evenly distributed in pigeon pose, what we can do is shift our weight over to the left side and feel that. And then shift the weight over to the right side. Good, and feel that. And then come and find a place of center. Okay, so feeling really even on both sides of the hips. And sometimes, we can check ourselves if we're practicing by ourselves. We can take a peek back at our back leg and make sure that it's straight back, right behind the hip, the toes pointing straight back, just like Kristen's is. Good, so we're right there. The knee is on the ground. If there is any discomfort by putting the knee flat on the ground, can double up the mat. Okay, so from here, let's take a big inhale, roll the shoulders back, take the chest forward, and then really softly, let's walk the hands forward so that we can come down onto our forearms. We're going to keep a nice flat back here. And then just find our really long and steady breath. So when we open up the hips, it takes a little while. So we want to find some patience, really, to get in there. And using the breath to release any tension that's in the hips that's stored there is a really good way to let go and to be patient with our hips. So with each exhale, send that breath right into the hip. Release the tension. And you might even notice that the hips really begin to sink, getting closer down to the ground. So I take a couple more breaths here. Start to let the body release. Really nice. On the next inhale, let's walk the hands back up. And let's bring them as close into the body as possible. Maybe even bringing the left hand to the knee. Good. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders back, reaching the chest forward. We can stay right here to get some shoulder and chest opening. If we want to go a little bit further, we can bring this the right leg. We can bring the right leg back, curling it toward the body. And we'll flex that foot and reach around with the right arm and grab the foot. Good. So really try to lift up, and we'll keep sinking the hips down, releasing. Good. Nice relaxed shoulders. If we feel good and we want to go just a little bit further, we can reach that left arm up high, coming in to a little bit of a side stretch, pulling through the fingers. Good, really nice. We can stay in this pose for 5 breaths or so, whatever feels good. And when we're ready to release, we'll just bring the hand down, release the right leg back down. And I always like to come back into downward dog after pigeon because it sort of stretches out the legs. So I like to bicycle the knees back and forth a few times and just let the legs stretch out. So we'll go ahead and do this on the other side to keep our bodies balanced. So let's take an inhale and pick the right leg up. Bending at the knee, we'll open up that hip. Keep the foot flexed so the toes are pointed back. Good, and really high knee, as high as you can get it. And then find that foot, if you can, from beneath the left arm. And then we can watch that foot as we send it down to the ground and flip over, coming into our flip dog. Sometimes this pose is called wild thing. It's a really freeing pose, really strong, big breath, lift the heart, lift the hips, and let's flip back onto our down dog, keeping the right leg high. Good. And when we're ready, we can draw that right knee into the outside of the right wrist and come into pigeon. Good. All right, so shifting into the hips, let's go off to the right side and then to the left side and find center. Good. So rolling the shoulders back, taking the chest forward. Really find a nice base here that we can settle down from. When we're ready, with a nice flat back, just begin to walk the hands forward and we'll come down to the forearms. And then just do our nice breath work, sending our healing, tension relieving breath into the hip. Letting go of anything that might be built up there. Finding that place of patience and release. In yoga, we like to talk about stillness, finding stillness. And sometimes when we're in a deep pose like pigeon, we can get antsy. Even though we're not moving around, we're just in a static pose. But finding that place of calmness with our breath will really help to not just allow the body to release, but any emotional tension or tightness that you might be holding on to can be released just by using your breath. Also, when we focus on our breath, we can stay present and we can stay right in the body. So making sure that we notice each inhale and notice each exhale will keep our mind present. Our mind does like to wander, which is okay. Everybody's does. And we can notice when that happens, and then we can find our breath again, and we'll come back right to where we need to be, right into the present moment. So when we're ready, and we're feeling really nice and deep in the hip, we can walk the hands back up toward the body, as far in toward the body as we can, maybe even taking that right hand to the knee, and settling in, so rolling the shoulders back, reaching the heart forward. Good, finding that long spine. Good, really nice. And then we can pull that left leg in. And reach around and grab it. Good. Yeah, does that side feel more tight?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will happen. You know, one side is different. And every day is different too. So maybe, you know, this felt really difficult yesterday or last week and it feels better today. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it feels harder today. Body changes. We just have to be okay with accepting that and knowing that we're right where we need to be at each moment. Okay. So if today it doesn't feel right to bring the right arm up, that's okay. We'll just stay where we are. Just keep working on bringing the chest up and forward and releasing the shoulders. It's a really great quad stretch by bending the foot back and also the hip flexor and the whole psoas right here is really getting stretched out. It's really nice, especially if we sit a lot or are really active, running or biking or doing things that make our hips tight. So we can hold this for some breaths, at least 5. When we're ready to release, just let go of the foot, and we'll make our way back into downward facing dog. Yeah, taking a nice breath, maybe by swinging the knees back and forth a few times. Good. All right, and when we're ready, we can just drop the knees and take the hips back to the heels and press into child's pose. Good. Thanks for joining us today. Enjoy your hip opening. Namaste.